Hey up lads, cheers for your patience on this one, because despite the small amount of encounters for this hunt, it took a lot longer than it usually would for this hunting method for different reasons. I'll start off by letting IRL Tom explain this hunt. Today is the 6th of June. It's been a few days since we got the second badge and finished the last hunt. As I said at the end of the second video, I wanted to plan this hunt and make sure it wasn't very dull because I knew it was going to be quite quick. And the reason it's going to be quite quick is because we're going to be doing fishing chaining. Now, what's fishing chaining? Fish chaining is a method in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire that involves an extremely complex set of rules for shiny hunting. Rule number 1 is catch fish. Funnily enough, there is no second rule. As you catch fish, you build up a catching chain, and as your catching chain increases, your odds of finding a shiny increase, maxing out at a 20 chain with a 1 in 100 chance of finding a shiny, which are the best odds in the game. So, hopefully, this hunt won't take very long. Hence the reason we've come down to the park to change up the scenery for this video a little bit. And specifically, we'll be heading down there. By the way, when I use the term catch fish, I actually mean encounter Pokemon. Sorry if that was a bit confusing. So we've come and sat up here on Route 107 to do our fishing. We can find Magikarp and Tentacle here, but it's more than likely going to be a Magikarp. We were going to sit down there on the benches, but there's some geese down there with some babies and they keep attacking us. So I forgot to mention that if you have a Pokemon with the ability Suction Cup, you avoid getting the not a nibble message, which I don't have, so I guess it's adding a bit more to the challenge as well. This statement would later come back to bite me in the arse. I did create a self-imposed rule to make this hunt a bit more interesting, but just like every hunt so far, I would end up bending these rules for the sake of my own sanity. So the rule I've given myself for this hunt to make it a bit more interesting is I'm only allowed to hunt when I'm surrounded by a body of water or flowing water. Taps don't count and baths don't count. It has to be a pond or a lake or a river or something. It was such a nice day and this was a really relaxing place to hunt. The only downside was the extremely aggressive geese. We hunted there for about an hour, getting 58 encounters. However, I came to notice a snag in the line. So we've been hunting now for about an hour. I think I'm at like 58 encounters. And trying to hit a 20 chain with no suction cup ability is really frustrating. The RNG is horrific. I think the max we've hit is like a 7 chain, and this hunt is going to be obnoxiously longer than it needs to be if we don't have the suction cup ability. So I've got an idea. We're going to head home quickly and we'll continue the hunt later. I didn't realise how annoying the lack of suction cups would be, and this was really frustrating.
Wow, this is depressing.
After returning home, I began to put my new plan into action. So as far as I'm aware, the rules say that you can catch Pokemon in your own game and other games that aren't shiny. You just can't use them in battles, i.e. you can't use them to beat gyms, etc. I'm quite far away from getting a Pokemon with Suction Cup in Omega Ruby, so I'm going to get one in this and trade it over. That might be against the rules, but in all honesty, I'm not too bothered. It's my hunt. I want to do it in my way. And if this takes a lot of the frustration away, then, hey, gives me a bit of a helping hand. After catching an Octillery, trading it over, completely forgetting to check if it even had suction cups, which then meant I had to go back to Y, catch another one, and then trade it again, which took way longer than it needed to. I named the Octillery Help Me, which I thought would be very fitting. Again, this guy is not going to be used in any battles or in any way that will be used to progress the badge quest. He's merely a tool to make my life easier. After all that malarkey, I had to have another refreshing beverage. Also, to make myself feel a bit better, we're going to try the Point Break punch. I still can't get over the fact that it's called Point Break. So this is meant to just be like generic tropical flavour. I can see some pineapples, cherries it looks like on the can. Let's give it a whiff. Kind of smells like a mix of Baja Blast and a drink we have in the UK, Fanta Fruit Twist. I know you get Fanta elsewhere, but I don't know if you get the Fruit Twist flavour. Kind of smells like that a little bit. I don't know if my taste buds are bugged, but it kind of just tastes like normal Baja Blast. Maybe like a hint of cherry and pineapple. Yeah, I don't know. That's all right. I preferred the mango one, to be honest, and that was the one I probably thought I wasn't gonna like. Probably give this like a 6. Yeah, it's all right. So it's the 7th of June now, the next day. I decided to call it a day yesterday rather than coming back, as it was starting to get quite dark. So I'm going to continue the hunt now. Hopefully with the Octillery Suction Cup, it should make getting a chain a lot easier. We're going to be fishing down by this little pond thing with the bridge, because the area on Route 104 looks a lot like it. The next day we hunted for around an hour again at the park's pond, reaching 183 encounters. With the Octillery I found it was much easier to get the 20 chain. The only times the chain ever broke was due to my own reaction time. After seeing so many people get shinies after like 7 to 20 encounters with this method, I was starting to get a little bit discouraged at my encounter number, but I didn't let it dissuade me. Due to the typical British weather, hunting grinded to a halt over the next few days. Over that time, I hit that moment of like gamer block where you have such a huge library of games to play, but no idea what to play. So I was like flip-flopping between titles. I was playing like 2 different Pokemon games. I tried Tales of Abyss, which I ended up playing for a little bit, but I've put down now. In all honesty, I'm just waiting for the next Legend of Heroes game, which comes out in like 2 weeks. After a few days, eventually the weather settled down and we were able to go out fishing again. Like I mentioned in the previous video, I really am just surrounded by sheep where I live. I think growing up in the British countryside is one of the reasons I love the art direction of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So it's currently the 12th of June. It's been about a week since we last hunted just because the weather's been a bit crap. And I'm not going to take my 3DS out in the rain, but it's a nice day today. So we have come down here to hunt for an hour or two. So we finally found somewhere to sit. The river is just down there. But yeah, let's sit here and hunt for a bit. We honestly only hunted for around 30 minutes this day, because there was nowhere comfortable to sit, and we ended that day at 235 encounters. I mean, at least glad I was able to get a lot of cool footage, but I still felt somewhat disappointed in the lack of time we had. I think I also may have scared off a lot of the fish by battering and then eating their brethren. For the rest of the night, I just chilled out on some RPGs, trying to think of ways I could dedicate more time to this hunt, while also keeping it visually interesting and appealing. This is where I reached a compromise in my self-imposed rules. It's currently the 18th of June. It's been about a week since the last hunt. The weather's not really been great here, so I've decided to switch up the rules a little bit. Well, my own self-imposed rules a little bit. Rather than making it so that I can only hunt around a body of water, I'm going to make it so I can only hunt when we've got some kind of like a nice background or nice scenery. So I'm just sat here by the patio window. And even then, it's meant to rain later, and usually this patio floods, so we'll have a body of water. It's also the Nintendo Direct in about 30 minutes, so I thought it might be good to record my whole reaction to it if there's anything interesting announced that I'm interested in. By the way, I watched the Direct via my friend Cyan's stream. I'll leave a link to his Twitch in the description. In all honesty, this Direct was very good. but there wasn't much I was really interested in personally. I'm mainly just waiting for news about Legends ZA or anything from Monolith Software. I had intended to hunt for longer until the forecasted rain would start, but this hunt only ended up taking me around 20 minutes from the start of the direct. More people should be using that engine. That engine looks absolutely incredible. Shiny Magikarp! Oh, baby! Yes! 273 counters. Nice! Let me, Shiny Magikarp, boys! Oh, yes! Oh man, third shiny Magikarp. I mean, obviously it was going to be shiny Magikarp because that's the only thing we were fishing out of this lake, but let's catch this. Nice. Third shiny acquired. And I do have a name for it. And this is the first time I've been like live recording while hunting. So we've got like my live reaction. So we are calling this guy, we're going to call him Senpai, after Senpai from Don't Toy With Me Nagatoro, because Nagatoro is ending in 2 chapters, and at the beginning of the manga, Senpai is kind of like a Magikarp. He's kind of weak, kind of feeble, kind of useless. But now, by the end, he is an absolute Chad, just like a Gyarados. So we're going to go with that. I know that's the most long-winded excuse for a name, but I don't know. I've had it in my head since the start of the hunt. So that was 273 encounters. I don't know how many that was on the chain. I want to say 28, 29. I'll be able to look back over the footage and work it out. Hardy. I think that's good. I don't know anything about natures, but I think I remember Hardy being quite good. And obviously he's only got Splash. So yeah, not too bad. So of course now that the hunt's over, it started raining and it's created the body of water that I wanted. But oh well. I've just realised, I've just been looking through the decks and I can't believe this description for Magikarp. It's brutal. Magikarp is a pathetic excuse for a Pokemon that is only capable of flopping and splashing. It really does fit the name Senpai. After moving back to my desk, we finally made our way to Slateport. Messed around there for a little bit, did some story stuff, spent the rest of the night grinding up Magikarp into Gyarados, and then made my way on to Morville City. So it's currently the next day, it's the 19th of June. I spent last night grinding Magikarp into Gyarados. So now we are heading into Morville City to take on the 3rd gym. It might just be me, but I find the layout of this city extremely overwhelming. There's like so much to do and so many places to go in that I get really overwhelmed in here, but we're going to ignore all of it for now and just go straight for the gym. After our battle with Wally, our Zigzagoon evolved into Linoon, just in time for us to take on the 3rd gym. Yeah, again, Marsh Tom just swept the gym. I'm really glad I went with Mudkip as the starter. So, 3 down, 5 to go. I'm really happy with how this video's come together. It's really captured the vibe I wanted for this series, like incorporating a lot of natural environment footage, and stuff I'm doing on like my day-to-day. In the future, I'm going to be a lot less strict with myself if I impose these rules, so it doesn't affect me having fun for this hunt, because there were points where I really wanted to hunt, but I was like, oh no, I have to go down to the park, but I didn't just want to keep going to the park, the same pond, yada yada. In hindsight, the hunt was only 273 encounters, but it felt a lot longer for me due to the massive gaps between days where I could hunt. So the next hunt, it's going to need a little bit of extra time to prepare, because I have a somewhat interesting idea for it. The hunting method itself will be pretty standard, but there's going to be a cool little twist I have an idea for, but hopefully all things go well. Fingers crossed. Thanks again for watching, lads, and thank you again to everyone who's actually like taking the time to watch these and like leave comments and stuff. I only really started this series on a whim just to keep myself busy and archive this little project I was doing. So it's nice to see people from like the old Twitch days come back and support. So yeah, y'all are top lads. But yeah, see you in a bit, lads. Have a good one.